This week, we're focusing on what you need to rebuild stronger after a narcissistic hurricane. And yesterday, we looked at why you need to be intentional about building your spiritual strength as a way of life before a storm hits. Today, we're going to talk about why you need to be intentional about developing your community sooner rather than later. You know, our tendency after surviving a narcissistic hurricane is to withdraw and isolate. I mean, Wendy, why is that? I know we've seen this in the women we've worked with. What's going on?
Well, for a lot of people, there's nobody really understands. And so maybe you've tried to reach out and tell people and they look at you like you're a little crazy, or maybe say you're over exaggerating things, or maybe the narcissist has gone ahead and poisoned the well. And so the people you've talked to aren't believing you anyway. There's a lot of shame for so many people who've been in these types of relationships. And also there's just exhaustion and overwhelm. And there's just this sense of you just want to curl into a ball and hide somewhere and not deal with people and just sleep and rest and recuperate. But the problem is you can't do that alone all the time forever. It doesn't work to just hide away and never go out again, which is also, if you're already an introvert, going to be your tendency anyway.
I remember feeling that way because you think once you're outside of the narcissistic relationship, like, oh, what a relief. Things are going to be so much better. It's not, because everywhere you go, there you are. And there's some stuff that needs to be dealt with after that. And I remember that inclination to just pull back and withdraw. I felt like my social battery was perpetually empty, you know, for one thing. And all those things that you said, I remember feeling that way. But I also realized that it's hard to heal in a vacuum. And I knew intellectually that I needed community after a storm. I knew that I needed people around me, you know, and I kind of drew ranks. I didn't, you know, I wasn't up on stage speaking and, you know, doing things that I had done before. I just kind of like closed ranks and I had like my small circle who were there for me, would let me cry, would let me rage. I remember one good friend that she challenged me. We would kind of challenge each other. She had been going through a storm as well. And we're like, if you're walking through a desert, it's got to be a no camping zone. You don't want to pitch a tent and live in the desert. You want to get to the other side, you know, back into the green rolling hills and the sunshine and the water and everything there. But you have to journey through the desert. So we would call each other out. If we had sunk into a pity party, then our joke between us was like a code word. Are you pitching a tent? The desert is a no camping zone, you know? And so it really helped to have people around, to have community, to have people who understand what you're going through, who don't think you're crazy, you know? Community is something that maybe you spend your life serving and helping. Maybe you're in leadership. Maybe people perceive you as the rock, you know, all the time. They perceive you as a leader. So then it's hard to be vulnerable. And it's okay if you need to close ranks like what I was just describing. But it's the worst thing you can do is isolate. Because in the wild, when you think of on like the Africa savannah, when the predators are coming out, they're looking for that one animal that's lagging behind the herd or that's wandered off on its own, right? They're easy prey and they get taken down. And that's what happens to us. If we're hurting and we're holding back, then we're outside of the herd. We've wandered off someplace in isolation. Predators, both in the natural and the spiritual realm, target us. So it's okay that even if you were the one that's always serving and helping and leading, it's okay for a time for you to just receive, because you'll get your strength back. You'll come back and there'll be another time that you are the one serving again. And I promise you, in that moment, you will be a more effective leader. You will be a more effective servant for God in whatever capacity He has you, because of what you've been through with the storm. You know, your level of compassion and understanding, especially when you're working with people who have been through similar things as to what you've been through, you know the pitfalls. You know, you can help spot things and you can call it out, just like my friend called things out in me in the moment when I needed it. You know, so it's really important that we get into community.
Well, there's a proverb that says iron sharpens iron,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we need to be involved in relationships where people notice the things that we are maybe in too much pain to see or just too
Mm-hmm.
tired to notice, but is
Mm-hmm.
really important for us to know is there.
Yeah.
And a good friend will show you things that you need to see, even when you don't quite feel like looking at them. And it's for your own good and it's for
Uh-huh.
your own protection. And having that community around you of where you are sharpening them and they are sharpening you and you are pointing things up for them and they are pointing
Mm-hmm.
things up for you is really, really important. It keeps
Yes.
you healthier and safer to be in a community where you are both serving and being served, as you mentioned.
Right. So that's part of what we're intentional of helping to create is
Mm-hmm.
a community of women who've been through narcissistic abuse. They totally understand dynamics of
Mm-hmm.
everything that's there and the emotions and the process that it takes walking through it on the other side. They don't think you're crazy. They understand. They're there to
Mm-hmm.
support and help you. So we've got the Cinderella No More Academy and the Cinderella Success Story, which is another tier of
Mm-hmm.
coaching that we have available, especially for Christian business women,
Mm-hmm.
or leaders in some
Mm-hmm.
capacity, ministry leaders and that sort of thing, is the Cinderella Success Story.
Mm-hmm.
And the academy moves at a little bit slower pace. You can go according to the pace that you feel is right for you, but you still have the support
Mm-hmm.
that's there. And there's other women there with you who are
Mm-hmm.
like-minded, who are also walking through that process. And so it becomes like your tribe,
Mm-hmm.
if that's a word that makes sense in this. It's other women who are also seeking God, who are not going to wallow. They
Mm-mm.
don't want to live life as a victim,
Mm-mm.
even though they sometimes feel like that. And
Yeah.
even though they might be wrestling with some depression and some
Mm-hmm.
discouragement now and then,
Mm-hmm.
but they're there to pick each other up, to uplift each other.
Yeah.
They're intentional
Yeah.
about growing personally and professionally and
Mm-hmm.
spiritually.
Yeah.
And of course, in that mix, okay, you've got us in there with ongoing coaching and
Mm-hmm.
training and support, because there's always going to be storms in life, right,
Yes.
Wendy?
Oh, of course there are. And there's a wisdom like we've been talking about all week in building community early and checking the foundation early. And if yesterday didn't make you go check your spare tire, go check it today because those things can deflate and go flat. And when you need it and you just assume it's there, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things in life we can just assume will be there when we need them. But if we haven't checked on them, nurtured them, made sure they're not rotted, or made sure they don't have air in them like a spare tire, it won't be there when you need it.
Right.
So part of surviving storms is preparing, being
Mm-hmm.
ready, knowing just in general what you're going to need. And one of the main ways I am sure you can say, Annette, that people survived all these storms was other people.
Yes.
Other people being there to help, other people being
Uh-huh.
there to make meals or to bring gas for a generator or to take somebody in for a week since they didn't have any power. Or there's so
Mm-hmm.
many ways that people help other people. And there's times you open your home up to others and there's times they open their home up to yours. But
Mm-hmm.
you need those people first.
Mm-hmm. Hebrews 10:24 and 25 says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works,
Mm-hmm.
not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near."
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we're talking about here. And we'd love for you to check out the Cinderella No More Academy,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a very specialized and unique community that is growing as of the recording of this. It was recently launched. I think you'll find some really good help that you need and some guidance and, the support and the validation and the
And
challenge.
information too. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
times, if you're going to walk through the desert, it's good to have a map, right?
right.
Walking through the desert is really hard, hot work. And there's often not enough landmarks. And so
Mm-hmm.
having the ability to head in the right direction and
Yes,
not veer too off course is really, really important.
yes, because
There's a
we
lot of
do have a
information.
systematic process.
Yeah, you've put so much
Mm-hmm.
work and information and help into all these things that you've built and made, and they're really well done. If
Yeah,
someone's
thanks.
looking for a map is out there. Tools are out there.
Yes. And I shared that map in a masterclass recently, and it was so funny. Two of the women that were on there live, I was asking, like, what's your takeaway from this? And their takeaway was the fact that there is a map, that they could see it, that they felt like they had been like stumbling around in the dark, trying to move forward, but didn't know exactly which direction they would go. And sometimes they were just spinning in circles. And they loved the fact that there was a map. They said that right there gave them hope. So yeah, life truly is better and richer when we do it together, for sure. So join us again on Monday as we start off a new series. And we're going to unpack 5 reasons you tolerated disrespect when you deserved so much better. So that's, again, one of those things where we're talking about foundations. We're going to take a look at some of that in next week's series. So we hope you'll join us there. Remember, throughout this week, you can reach out to us with your questions, your thoughts. You want to share your story? We'd love to hear it. Email us at hello@AnnetteChesney.com. And please help this podcast by getting the word out when you click to like and subscribe, when you share an episode to someone you think could benefit from it. It really is a big help, and it helps boost us in the algorithms too. So check out our show description, by the way, because we've got some resources. Again, you can always email us, and you'll even find that email link in the description as well too. Keep going, because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your best is yet to come. We'll see you next week.